Good morning, folks. How are you today? Happy Black Friday. As you could tell by the thumbnail, that was from the past. And I never was a Black Friday shopper. Me and crowds don't get along. But for any of you that went out today, leave a comment. I'd like to know what you saw. Did you see how the thumbnail looked? Did you see those kind of crowds? Because I'm really second guessing it with constantly doing my research as I do. Um, Several plants are closing. Uh, Major companies, people show up to work and they see a sign on the door, "We're sorry, we're closed forever," and they can't go to work. They find out as they walk in to clock in, and they can't get in the door. Pepsi did this in Chicago. Um, a lot of companies are doing this. UPS made major cutbacks. A lot of these shipping companies that brings your Amazon to you has all done cutbacks. And taxes rising, property taxes for some have doubled. And I just want to know, are you, I know it's got to be hitting your wallet, just putting the gas in the gas tank to get to the stores. And I want to know, what did you see? Did you see those crowds fighting to get in the door when they were unlocked? Or did you just see maybe a little higher percentage than normal? But the most important part was, how much did you see in their carts? Did you see Did you see 80-inch TVs in their carts? Did you see all the Black Friday specials in their carts? Because in many cases, stores, I'm not saying all, in many cases, what stores do to attract you, the people, they'll mark up those items weeks before Black Friday. And then they'll advertise Black Friday special, 25% off, 30% off. This is the price for Black Friday, just to get you in. Mentally, in your mindset, you're thinking, wow, that's a really good price. So you run into that store to make sure you're fighting in line to get that computer, the TV, whatever that item is. And a few weeks later, you check back with the store. They've gotten rid of the Black Friday special. That's over. You go look at the item and you realize, hey, that's what I paid for it on Black Friday. Well, yeah, they brought it down to the regular price. I've noticed that. Have you? Or have you really not paid attention? You just think you're getting one hell of a deal. So, where I'm going with this is a lot of families are not going to have the traditional Christmas because of the economy, because of the lack of jobs, because of money, taxes, property taxes, income taxes coming due. We're into December now. Those W-2s are going to start coming out. So everybody's going to be filing their taxes. Got to put money back because, if you're one of those, you always end up paying. If not federal, definitely my state. Regardless of how little I made, my state still found a way to tax me. But how much is going to be under your Christmas tree? And how are you going to fulfill your children's list to Santa Claus? It's going to be a tough one. I feel really, really sad, upset, mad that this affects the children. You can't explain to a 5 to a 10-year-old, that age group, younger than 5, 3 to 10. They're all making their lists for Santa Claus. You can't explain to them Santa Claus is a little broke this year. His sleigh is, Rudolph is sick, so he's down a deer, and the reindeers that are able to work can't support a heavy sleigh. You come up with some of these stories, because how do you explain to a child, Mommy and Daddy lost their job, Mommy and Daddy's hours got cut, Mommy and Daddy can't afford the mortgage, we had to make choices, we had to pick our priorities. How do you explain that to a little child? You can't. So I'm going to give you an alternative. I have a very, very dear friend who is so crafty. She could take a spool of thread and make a pot of gold. She could take a spool of yarn, or whatever you call it, the yarn. I'm not a crafter. Can you tell? She could take that and create anything. Some people are just like that. And she makes beautiful quilts. She makes beautiful, she custom makes, well, used to, I don't know if she still does, custom makes t-shirts, with, she's got an iron press that, like I said, she is very, very crafty. You put a sewing machine in front of this woman, there's no stopping her. She has made Halloween costumes for her granddaughters and grandsons, and she sends me pictures, and I'm like blown away. They're better than anything I've seen in a store. And many, many of you are like that. Many of you have those personal talents. Me, my I guess my talent is researching because I'm nosy and I want to know what in the hell's going on with our government and with our lifestyle. And that's where my interest is. Although when I was younger, because I was raised by my dad, I used to be able to fix my own cars. That was my specialty before they became computerized. You give me a car that was in the 1970s, 1980s, I'd crawl underneath that car, I'd fix it, I'd changed everything but the engine itself. Alternators, carburetors, radiators, hoses. I did it all. Heater cores. I did it all because I was raised by my dad. And if you read my story, you find out my mother died as a very young child. So I didn't learn how to cook. I didn't learn how to bake. I learned how to fix and build things. The first thing my father taught me after my mother died was he put a paintbrush in my hand and told me to help him paint the garage door. I was 8 and I'm painting the garage door. And then right after that, him and I laid a sidewalk alongside the side of the house. I learned how to work with concrete. And then we got into the cars. Those days are gone for me. Now I open up a hood of a car and it takes me time after I find the dipstick to check the oil. You can't fit your hand in there. There's so much air pollution crap that they put in it. You older folks know exactly what I'm talking about. They make the cars now to where people can't fix them themselves. You have to depend on mechanics who charge you an arm and a leg. Anyway, I digress. Back to the story. So you can't fulfill Santa's list. But let's flip the script. I'm starting to flip the script. I'm starting to use that phrase more and more. Let's flip the script. Use your craft. God gave all of us certain talents. For my friend, she can make a statue out of dust. Honest to God, she's just that handy. So I was thinking, what's not so difficult that women could do, or men? Do you remember when we were little? Sock puppets? We used to get those gray insulated thick socks. In fact, there was a children's program. It escapes my mind what children's program it was. And one of their segments was a sock puppet. And on the toe of the sock puppet, the heel is where your thumb went. And on the top of where the toe was, you took buttons, 2 big buttons, and sewed them for the eyes. And then you took red thread and sewed a circle for the nose. And then usually on those gray socks, the heel is already red. Some are orange, but I don't know if they make them anymore. But in any case, you could take lipstick, permanent lipstick, and make a mouth. Do you know how much fun you get 2 kids playing with sock puppets? What you're doing is you're activating that imagination that things like this took away from our children. You don't need an imagination anymore. Everybody sticks their nose in the tablets, the computers, and the phones. Kids used to have a lot of fun with homemade stuff. I remember back in the day, there were many, many grandpas that worked with wood. They used to build cars and trucks and for children, blocks. Just instead of feeling the need to go to the store and max out another credit card, use your heads. Think logically. What is your talent? What is your spouse's talent? What can you make? What can you create? What would be a wonderful gift? Think about that. Save some money. And I'm going to tell you what, I've got things that mean the absolute world to me that I would never, till the day I die, get rid of. Give me a second. I'm going to show you one. Okay. These are the most precious things that anybody could have given me because it came from the heart. One of my grandsons was very big into Legos, and he never let go of anything he ever built with his Legos because they were precious to him. He was proud of what he made. Do you know what I got as a gift one day? He built this for me out of Legos. And that now, most people would say, yeah, so what? But me knowing that child and how much he loved his Legos, first of all, to part with something he created was a huge step for him. He's got a whole curio cabinet full of the things he's made. But to think of me and to give this to me as his personal gift to me, this means the world to me. He made it with me in his intention. That makes this priceless. Another thing. I think this is a cat. This was made in his art class at school when he was little. Did he give it to mommy and daddy? No. Did he keep it for himself? No. Half the kids that make this kind of stuff just throw it away. He took pride in it. This was for Grandma because Grandma loves dogs. Now that I look at it, I think it is a dog with a tail. Priceless. Priceless. Another thing, a spoon, a special spoon with the handle. Another craft project in school. Did mommy and daddy get it? No. Did he keep it? No. Gave it to grandma. Why? Because I cook and I make the holiday dinners. He thought of me. To the day I die. Anything my grandchildren buy me or make for me, I will never let go of. My other grandson came to me one day. He was staying with me for a while. And it was summer, lots of yard sales going on. And he came to me and he said, Grandma, can I have some money? And I looked at him, I says, for what? And he's like, well, there's a yard sale down the street. I want to go to it. Well, he never wanted to go to yard sales. He used to complain when I wanted to take him, drag him along to yard sales. I love yard sales. But he wanted to go to the yard sale, and so I thought, all right, it's a couple of houses down. Go ahead. So I gave him just a couple of bucks, you know. He went to the yard sale, and he came back with the shittiest grin on his face, all excited. And I'm looking at him. And I'm like, what'd you find? And he's like, you got to sit down in the chair, Grandma. So I sat down. He's like, hold out your hand. So I held out my hand. And inside was this really cute necklace that he bought at the yard sale just for me. That was probably about 12 years ago. To this day, I wear that necklace with the appropriate outfit that it goes with. I'll never let it go. Never. Because he didn't go to that yard sale to buy something for him. He went there with the intention to buy something for me. You see where I'm going with this? It's the personal touch. Not stuff out of Walmart, Kmart. Well, I think Kmart's are gone. Walmart, Targets, Amazon. There's a huge difference between factory-made stuff off an assembly line that anybody can get. But there's absolutely nothing that can replace what touches the heart. Homemade things, crafts. So maybe for Christmas, instead of maxing out a credit card, maybe you can drudge up that talent that's deep in your heart and get creative and make this year more personal. Maybe you know somebody that needs a throw blanket for their legs in the chilly winter. Either crochet, make a lap quilt. If you're a sewer, do that. If you have absolutely no skills, go with the sock puppet. It's not that hard. I'm sure you could sew a couple buttons on. You understand what I'm saying. But that's what I wanted to bring up about Black Friday. It's all a big hype to get your money. It's all a way to make people spend money to keep these big mega stores, these monopoly mongrels in business. Let's go back to the basics. Let's turn the time back a little bit. Let's use our talents, our crafts, our ingenuity, our imaginations. It'll mean a hell of a lot more to the person that receives. And it'll be priceless. And it'll touch their hearts. With that, tell me how your Black Friday was. Tell me your ideas. I'd welcome them. I'd be glad to know. So now let's change topic a little bit. How was your Thanksgiving? Being that my family lives 230 miles away, I am raising my son's grandson, my son's son. So my grandson does live with me, who I'm not raising him no longer, he's 21. But we're family. He's like my buddy, And a friend of mine, we used to be partners. My ex, he's alone now, lives in the same town, but we're still friends. We parted because our age made us more independent, and we decided, okay, you go live where you want, and I'll live where I want. Well, we still live in the same town, but he doesn't really have anybody, and it's just me and my grandson. So yesterday, Thanksgiving, I made, a turkey breast, which was good for just 3 people. And then all the sides. I didn't have, because I don't live by family, where all of my siblings got together, all our kids got together, 40 people, Thanksgiving dinners and holiday dinners. They still do it, but I live too far to participate. But, well, I'm telling you what, I know from my family, whole different wavelength than I am. Really, a whole different way. Politically, religiously, and we weren't always like that. But boy, it sure came out these last 8 years, especially in 2020. So a lot of families parted ways, and that's opinions tear apart families. It's heartbreaking. Especially it takes somebody like me who's 70 years old. How many more years am I going to be able to have my family? I'm not going to live forever. You know what I'm saying? I found a heart ripping post on X. My wife died this year. We are Make America Great Again. And the rest of our family are libs. I'm alone today, and they know how my wife. Not one phone call from immediate family, siblings, nephews, nieces. Not one phone call from in-laws. They can't rise above their TDS. This man lost his life. He's all alone. It breaks my heart. So I made a reply on, I have to. I said, oh my gosh, this breaks my heart. Our family used to have a strict family with my nieces and nephews all being adults right now. I'm pretty sure my father's rule went right out the window. But anyway, I digress. Talk about politics, personal views on religion. The gathering was to reflect on bonding, unity, and love for each other. Because we do need each other. You know, my father was very strict about privacy, very strict, involved in the bills coming in the house. We were never to even think about asking my father, how much do you make at your job? That is nobody's business. I never, my father was raised in a very strict Catholic, very Irish family. And my mother was one of those hardcore German families. They both joined on this. They both joined on this privacy. There are just personal things about oneself that you don't need to plaster a post-it note on your forehead for every person to know your feelings, your personal feelings, what's in your heart. But in today's day and age, people seem to want to stick a post-it note on their head. Oh, use my pronoun. How dare you, Mr. President? How dare you talk about that? I stand for this and you're to respect it, and try to shove things down your throat. Why? What makes that person more superior than any other person? Can't we all just put that aside?